Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on the fourth webinar in Reflex Marine's webinar series. I hope you enjoyed the introductory videos. My name is Victoria Kalina. I am the media manager at Reflex Marine, and I will be moderating today's session. First, some housekeeping rules. The webinar is scheduled to last about 1 hour, including the Q&A session at the end. All attendees are automatically muted to allow our presenter to speak without interruption. Questions can be submitted via the chat box on the right-hand side at any time during the webinar. And I encourage you to submit your questions as they arise, and we will be responding to them during the Q&A session. The presentation recording will be emailed to you approximately 48 hours after the session. I would also like to inform you that all our webinars are also available to view on demand on our YouTube channel. Okay then, as I'm not seeing any remarks or questions in the chat box right now, I think we're ready to begin. And the topic of today's webinar is the WAVE-4 personal transfer carrier. Our presenter for the day is Ms. Sandra Antonovic, Reflex Marine's Chief Operating Officer. Sandra is responsible for global commercial development and strategic business positioning at Reflex Marine, leading the opening of new markets. Sandra's operational expertise focuses on business transition, diversification, and strategic growth. Today, Sandra will tell you a bit more about Reflex Marine's most versatile solution for offshore personal transfers, the WAVE-4 carrier, and its application in various industries. Sandra, over to you.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I know this is a busy time of the year, so we appreciate your time and the decision to join us. Thank you also to our partners who have joined this session. They're quite important for the work that we do, and I'll be talking about that a little bit later. I'll try to walk you through WAVE-4 personal transfer carrier or personal transfer basket. Different parts of the world call it in a different way, but I think you understand what I'm talking about. So in the beginning, I'll walk you through the product itself, and then in the second part of the presentation, I'll walk you through how different companies are using this carrier, in which types of operations and in which parts of the world, and in which parts of the industry. So to start with, just a basic business card for WAVE-4. It's an award-winning product. We won Safety at Sea award in 2017 at the Sea Trade competition. It's superior in its class, so it falls into a rigid baskets class, and it's superior in that class. We are supporting over 40 companies across the world and the operations that they are having offshore. And this year we are celebrating 5 years of WAVE operating and being offshore. Reflex Marine as a company has been around for 30 years. So we have other products, I'm sure most of you are aware. And they have been in operation for much longer than WAVE. But WAVE has quickly found its place on the market and its place within the operations. This is the current map. So looking at where different companies are using WAVE for their operations, you can see that most parts of the world are covered. So we have Australia, Southeast Asia, India, Middle East, East and West Africa, East Mediterranean, Europe, North Sea. The top one is Yamal, so Arctic Russia. Then on the other side, on the left-hand side, we have Gulf of Mexico, and we have South America, both in Argentina and in Chile, so from both sides, the Atlantic and the Pacific. This shows that WAVE has been accepted across the world as a versatile and useful product. And a little bit later, I will also show which industries are using WAVE and how they are using it. This is the outline of what I'll be talking about today. So the purpose of the product, its operability, applicability, and then once you start using it, what kind of support you can expect from us. Uh, when we are talking about the purpose, it's self-explanatory. So the product is used to transfer people offshore from point A to point B, whether that's from a vessel to a vessel or from a vessel to a floating installation or to a fixed installation. And this is how it looks on a deck of a vessel. Um, so just as people are disembarking. This video is very short. It shows just a couple of images when wave is lifted and is up in the air. And it will just give you a flavor and visualize basically the stability of the unit and how it looks when people are being transferred. You would have noticed that compared to other crane transfer baskets where people are standing and they're not seated, this one is different for several reasons. People are facing inwards, so they're looking at each other, but they're not hanging on to. We also have the situation where they're looking at each other when they're using collapsible baskets. But in that case, they're hanging from the outside of the basket. Their backs are not protected. They're not protected from falling, and it's a very dangerous type of transfer. In this situation, there is a stainless steel bottom of the unit. They are strapped, so they are restrained, so they're protecting from falling out. And the yellow buoyancy, which is behind each person, protects them from different types of impact. In major parts from lateral impact. So it's visible on the first side that the unit offers full protection for the passenger, and so full protection for your crew from different risks that we encounter when we are transferring people offshore. Um, Going to operability, we with each unit we give a user manual, of course. We will share a user manual with you on this presentation, so you should receive it in the chat box soon. Also, if you want other types of documents and user manuals and useful information, we have a download section on our website. On your right hand side is the screenshot from my phone, how it looks like when you get to that page, and you can select any product that you want, and then the type of information that you want. So in this case, the user manual. The user manual is extremely useful piece of information and has a lot of useful insights on first how to use the unit. So what is the best way to use the unit? What is the best way to enter, to exit? Where to put the luggage and how to treat different types of luggage, how to convert the unit into a MedEvac mode, how to use the unit in a MedEvac mode, how to use the unit in emergency situations, and then finally how to maintain the unit, making sure that it lasts you the longest possible time. The lifespan of the unit is approximately 10 years. It depends on the usage category. So of course, the more frequent the use, the shorter the lifespan, similar to with any other piece of equipment. But it does have extremely long lifespan and very, very simplified inspection and maintenance schedule. So we took on board all the feedback that we have been receiving over the years from different companies and different clients, different parts of the world, different sea states and different weather conditions. And we took all that on board when we were designing WAVE-4, and we tried to make the inspection and maintenance schedule, recommended schedule, as simple as possible, basically. Moving forward, this is a video that explains how to use the unit. It also explains how to convert the unit into a MedEvac mode. It's available on our YouTube. Victoria will share a link now in the chat box. So I'm not going to play it now because it's 8 minutes long. So I'm just conscious about the time. But we'll share the link and you can watch the video at your own leisure. So it gives a lot of visual explanations and it has a voiceover. So our operations support manager is speaking and he is walking you through what's the best way to use the unit. This video I will show. So this one is showing some footage from the testing process. We test all our products before they're certified and often after they're certified to make sure that the integrity of the product is not compromised. For testing, we use the same methodology as car companies use when they're testing vehicles. So we follow MIRA recommendations. And it's an extensive process with lots of measuring and analysis. On average, we spent about 10,000 man hours in development of the product and the testing. And then it goes, once it's been certified, then it goes into production and becomes an off-the-shelf product. So we'll show the video now. in this video, we saw several risk mitigating features that WAVE-4 has. One is self-righting ability. So you saw when the unit is dropped into water upside down, and chances of that happening in real life are almost non-existent. It would self-right within a couple of seconds. Even if the unit drops in the water, it wouldn't drop upside down in real life, but we do test that just to make sure that the self-righting feature actually works completely and it's quick enough for people not to be affected. If the unit is in the water, it would float. So that's another risk mitigating feature that the product has. So it is fully floating. You also saw when it's in MedEvac mode, so when you have a stretcher with a casualty on it, and in water, the stretcher is above the water level. So the injured person is completely safe and protected from immediate drowning. You also saw testing for lateral impact, so when the unit slammed against the container, and you saw the unit being dropped from height to a hard surface. So shock absorbing feet are absorbing the impact of the vertical impact of the vertical fall, and the buoyancy panels that I also mentioned earlier when we saw that first video are protecting the passengers against lateral impact. So WAVE-4 mitigates the main four key risks that we can see when people are being transferred offshore, and it mitigates them in a very strong way, and people are protected completely. We'll move on now to applicability. So we've hopefully now we have an understanding of what the product is about and what are the main features of the product and how it protects the passengers, how you can use it, and how you can convert it into MedEvac mode. And now let's see how different companies are using it in operations they have offshore. Victoria mentioned in the introduction that WAVE-4 is our most versatile product. That's a very fair statement. So that's absolutely true what she said, because it can be used across industries, and it is actually used by so many different companies. None of our other products has this type of versatility. So here I've listed just a few sub-segments in the offshore world that are using WAVE-4 every day. So gas and LNG, conventional oil, ports and shipyards, Coast Guard, civil engineering, offshore civil construction, and many, many others. I'll walk you through some of them in a little bit more detail just now. These are some of the clients that are using WAVE. You'll recognize most of the names, if not all of them. It is not a full list. I just picked names that I thought would be interesting to show during this presentation. This one is Jan de Nul vessel, commissioning of offshore wind farm in Taiwan, operated by Hitachi. They have WAVE-4 on board. Here I don't have a photograph with the WAVE actually being used. What I'm trying to show is the type of vessel that is using WAVE and the type of operations that they have. So it's we are talking about offshore wind farm commissioning, and we are talking in terms of climate and weather conditions. We are talking offshore Taiwan. Warm weather, but not fully tropical, and manageable sea states and sea conditions. Next one is Japanese mole. So this one is FSRU Challenger. MOL has a fleet of WAVE-4 units, so they have 8 altogether. Most of their FSRUs are using WAVE. Also, their icebreakers have WAVE. I'll talk about them in a second. So this one is offshore Turkey in East Mediterranean, and they use WAVE in their daily transfers. And they're very meticulous about servicing it, following the recommendation from the user manual that I mentioned earlier. Another MOL vessel, LNG tanker, this is in Arctic Russia. So we are now in Yamal, in Arctic Circle, very north, very cold. Yesterday was almost minus 30. Today it's a bit warmer, minus 15. Extreme weather conditions throughout the year, not just in winter, but specifically in winter, very, very extreme low temperatures and weather conditions. We have 20 units in total operating in Yamal at the moment. 10 of them are WAVE-4 and 10 of them are XT4. So WAVE-4 is used on icebreakers during ship-to-ship transfer and for contingency, and it's used by 4 different companies. So I've already mentioned Japanese MOL. We also have TK. We have Sovcomflot, and we have Chudi Shipping from Norway, a Norwegian shipping company that is used for transferring cargo. It performs extremely well. We didn't actually design WAVE to be an Arctic type of unit. We have a Frog XT range, which is extremely suitable for Arctic and is used in Sakhalin, where Exxon has a fleet of over 20 units in Sakhalin, and they use them daily. But WAVE does perform extremely well in low temperatures. And as you can see in these Arctic operations at the biggest Russian gas field, it is extremely, extremely well performing, and they haven't had issues in using WAVE in low temperatures. I'll move on to, so we are still with MOL. This is one of their icebreakers. So on board of this one, they also have WAVE. A little bit later, you will actually see one unit on during ship-to-ship transfer. So we have some photographs in a moment that actually show some of the units in action. We are moving slightly to slightly warmer or very warm climate after Arctic Yamal, and we are moving to a different company. So Accelerate Energy, the pioneers and leaders in FSRUs, all of you know who they are, I'm sure, so I won't talk too much about them. They have WAVE on most of their FSRUs operating offshore Bangladesh, United Arab Emirates, offshore Israel, and in the Adriatic Sea. So they also have a fleet of WAVE-4 units, and they're very happy with what they're allowing them to do. They're using them as a contingency option. They're also using them if they want to transfer people during low visibility periods, in dawn, at dusk, during nighttime, or if they need to quickly transfer 1 or 2 people, particularly during ship-to-ship transfer operations, because WAVE gives them the flexibility to do the transfer literally in 5 minutes. It doesn't require any particular preparation. All you need is a crane and the crew that you want to transfer, and literally the lift takes under 5 minutes. So it's extremely flexible. It gives them the flexibility when they need to move people outside of schedule or in periods of low visibility. Here we are now in Asia, Southeast Asia. Shell Sarawak, huge project that they're operating for Petronas. Large operation. They have a fleet of WAVE units, and they're extremely happy with them. They use them for interfield transfer. They also use them to increase the operating envelope during periods of low visibility, so or during nighttime. And they have them on board in case of an emergency. Because WAVE gives them the ability to transfer injured person quickly, or somebody who is unwell to the point that they have to be in a stretcher to receive medical attention. This is particularly important in today's world, where the health conditions of personnel are extremely unpredictable because of the pandemic. So they are very happy with WAVE and what the flexibility that it offers them. Going back to Europe, North Sea, Saipem 7000, gigantic installation. They use WAVE. Saipem has a fleet of other units that we supply, Frog XT, but in this particular case, they are using WAVE. They wanted something with a small footprint. So away from all rigid baskets, if we are talking about rigid basket category, has the smallest footprint in the world. So it gives them flexibility when they're not using it. It requires very little space to be stored compared to other rigid baskets. So that was the main reason why they went for it in this case. Back to Southeast Asia, Vantage Drilling, one of their drilling rigs, Topaz Driller, they're using WAVE for day-to-day transfers when they're transferring low volume of people, and also they have it as a contingency for MedEvac and emergency transfers. This one is currently operating offshore Thailand. So again, tropical weather condition, fairly manageable sea, so nothing compared to North Sea, but a very particular climate, so very high humidity, high temperatures. We didn't have issues so far with increased corrosion, so WAVE performs well. The frame is stainless steel, and it performs really, really well in tropical and damp, hot weather conditions. Dove Subsea, another familiar name. Um, they also have a fleet of WAVE units at the moment, operating in various parts of the world, North Sea, Western Australia, Argentina. They like it because it gives them flexibility because of its small footprint. So it gives them flexibility of storage, and it gives them flexibility on type of vessel they can use. It also increases their operating envelope, so they can use it in periods of low visibility when there is fog, for example, in North Sea, heavy rain, and so on. Dove is also one of the companies that like our rental options. So even though they do have a fleet of WAVE units, they often come back and they rent additional units for short-term projects. So, for example, a month or 2 month project. they're doing something for a specific client, and they have a requirement for WAVE just for a short period of time. So we provide that option as well, not just for them, but for any client. Yinsen Production, one of the big FPSO names. This FPSO is operating offshore Ghana in West Africa. It's a 20-year contract. They currently have one WAVE on board. They are considering increasing that number. They use it mainly for interfield transfer. So they would use the helicopter to get people from the shore to the field. But then once they're in the field, they would use WAVE to do transfers in the field most of the time. Back to Europe, North Sea again. We had Saipem just a minute ago. Here we have Seaway 7, big name in heavy lift vessels, very good company for commissioning of offshore wind farms, and the global leader in decommissioning projects. They use WAVE on 2 of their vessels, both for offshore wind commissioning and in some decommissioning projects. When we are in the North Sea, I should mention that Boskalis has used WAVE during decommissioning process for ConocoPhillips platforms in the North Sea. That was also a rental. It didn't make sense to buy the unit because it was a short-term project during which time they actually needed to move people. So the rental option worked really well for them. Boskalis is also using WAVE offshore India in one of their projects. Van Oord, I'm sure you are familiar with this name as well, and this company, dredging, offshore wind farms, commissioning, lots of other types of activities. I'm trying here to show different types of vessels and different types of installations that are using WAVE so that you can have a better understanding of the versatility of the product and what range of companies and projects are using it in their operations. UK, a hot topic these days. This one is England, Hinkley Point C nuclear plant. There has been a lot of discussion about it, and there has been a lot of discussion how the energy mix is going to look in the years to come. A little bit later, I will show you the WAVE unit in use actually, but it's so it is used on this project as well, offshore UK. Now we are going to a completely different part of the world, Chile, South America. WAVE is used for offshore civil engineering. So Chile is building a suspension bridge to connect one of their islands with the mainland and to reduce the travel time from 40 minutes to 5 minutes. The island in question, Chacao, is also going to have, they're planning to build an offshore wind farm in near future. So it's quite an interesting area for Chile and quite a lot of potential there. So the company that has been commissioned to build this bridge, this is currently in process. Bridge is planned to be finished in 2023. They are using WAVE during some of the operations they have in this channel. Eastern Mediterranean, Turkey, Port Agdenis, the biggest Turkish port on the Mediterranean side, so not counting Black Sea. Extremely versatile port. They can service and facilitate different types of vessels and different types of cargo. They use wave for during bunkering, for contingency, for emergency, and sometimes for day-to-day transfers, depending on current need. So they use it. They don't have one specific use. They use it in quite a few ways. It's interesting that a Qatari company bought this port earlier this year in October. Finally, the last one that I wanted to show in this spectrum of different projects, which is hopefully helping you understand the versatility of WAVE-4 as a transfer basket, is Maersk Training Academy in Egypt. They are using WAVE during some of their trainings, and during some of the uh, offshore work briefings and exercises. So they have WAVE there in Maersk Training Academy. We'll run through now photographs where WAVE is actually, you can see WAVE either on a vessel or on a platform or being used for some of the projects that I've just shown you. So this is Seaway 7. You can see WAVE on two of their vessels. So they mostly operate in Netherlands and UK. Basically, it's North Sea, whether it's central part of the North Sea or southern part of the North Sea. You can see here two situations. Here, if you look closely behind the pipes, you can see WAVE in the center of the photograph towards the left-hand side. This is TK's vessel, and here we have ship-to-ship transfer operation and WAVE. You can see how much space it takes on a side deck of this vessel, and how flexible that is for them. Here again, on the left-hand side, you will have WAVE, if you can spot it, on Accelerate Energy FSRU. Here we have it on one of ProSafe's vessels. I think this image illustrates quite vividly the small footprint aspect of WAVE. So you can use it on almost any kind of vessel. You don't need to, the vessel doesn't have to have any particular requirements in order to be able to have WAVE on board, which gives you flexibility. If you look at companies that are using gangways, whether because they're transferring high volumes of people or because they prefer that method of transfer, they would often have WAVE as a backup option when they have to deal with the vessel or have to receive or send people on a vessel that doesn't fit the gangway spec. So they like to have WAVE as a contingency unit. In those situations, they can still transfer their people. Fugro Wave Walker. So we are back to the nuclear plant facility that I've shown earlier. So here is how it's actually, how does it look when during the commissioning process of the plant. So they're building the nuclear plant and they're using this Wave Walker. And you can see on your left-hand side, the left photo, you can see WAVE on the deck. On the right-hand side, you can see WAVE being used. It looks very romantic and like a postcard, but it's actually trying to show that you can use WAVE during low visibility periods. So here we have dusk, so sun is coming down, visibility is very low, but you can still use WAVE to transfer your crew. And Saipem 7000, I've mentioned it, and we had a photograph of this rig. Now you can see WAVE being lifted and you can see um, the moody North Sea waves behind, but the unit is very stable with people inside. You can also see in the center of the unit the red basket where people can put their luggage and small bags or tools, whatever they have to carry with them to the other side. So going back through the presentation, at the beginning, I've shown what the product is all about, and how it's tested and what kind of protection it offers. Then I walked you through the applicability of the product, and you saw how different companies, what type of operations they're using WAVE in, and how does it look on pictures. And now uh, I'm just going to quickly run you through how we can support you if you have the unit. So whether it's a rental or a purchase, it doesn't matter. The support is exactly the same. We offer training for your passengers, so for the crew, the passenger in the induction training. We also offer inspection and maintenance training. So in case your company wants to do maintenance, we can provide that type of training. Then you get a certificate, and you are basically certified to inspect and to maintain our units. The inspection and maintenance training is what our partners across the world go through. So we have a network of approved service centers all over the world, and they have technicians who are trained by us. They're certified. We created this network in an effort to offer prompt service and to be able to accommodate clients' need to have units serviced offshore or onshore in any part of the world, to make sure that their uptime is at highest possible level. We also offer operational support. What does that mean in practice? You are having an operation offshore. You have a particular situation, or you want to do a particular maneuver. You're not sure whether that would be safe. You send us an email, and we can help you go through the risk analysis. Also, if you have any urgent requirements for replacement parts, for servicing, for anything similar, any other types of questions, you are not sure about the operating envelope, the weather conditions are extreme, and you're not sure how to proceed. All these are questions that our operations support team is answering daily. We don't charge for that service, of course. It's a part of the package, and we provide it regardless whether you have bought or rented the unit. And finally, approved service centers network. I've just explained it. So those, I would say, are the main ways we are supporting you. We also have a YouTube channel, which is open, so accessible to everyone, with lots of materials there, lots of videos, lots of passenger briefings, crane operator briefings, MedEvac briefings, other webinars that we've had in the past. All of that is extremely useful when you're trying to understand the operations offshore and what is the best way to do certain things. And you've seen at the beginning of the presentation the download section on our website, that screenshot from my phone. So there is loads of materials there, free to download at any time at your convenience. And that's it for today. So I try to keep it brief. I'm conscious about the time. I know that we are all busy, but I hope this was helpful and gave you a sort of a snapshot and some inside information about WAVE-4 as a product. If you have any questions later, So if you have any questions now, I would be happy to answer. If you have any questions later, do email us info@reflexmarine.com, and we'll do our best to reply in depth. And we are on social media, so you can contact us there as well if that's easier. Thank you so much for your time.
Presentation. I don't see any questions in the chat box right now, so I think we're ready to close the session. I would just like to remind that if anyone missed any of our previous webinars, these are all accessible on our YouTube channel to view on demand at any time. So I encourage you to do that. And I believe that's everything we've got prepared today. Thank you so much again, Sandra, for the presentation. Thank you to everyone who joined us, and we will see you in 2021 for the next episode of the webinar series, where we will talk about the FPSOs and the deep water operations.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.